And then obviously the whole big thing about the student loan forgiveness is declared unconstitutional, as everyone has now heard. I'm sure you're sick about it, as even Nancy Pelosi, Queen of the Damned, Nancy Pelosi basically, you like that? You like that? Right. Nancy Pelosi basically said it takes an act of Congress where it does. But here's where I want to go with this. So in the decision, here's what most people didn't see. So the Supreme Court delivers the decision, students for fair admissions versus, Harvard. The court ruled the following: that colleges and universities may consider in admissions decisions, quote, an applicant's discussion on how race affected his or her life, be it through discrimination, inspiration, or otherwise. So while the courts or the Supreme Court ruled against this affirmative action in this case, that language is so big you can drive a tractor trailer through.
Literally.
Because you know what's going to happen. You know that now the colleges are now going to find a different way to use race in their admission standard. What am I missing? Am I wrong here? Because
No.
that language is so vague that now you're going to have the Harvards and the other elite Ivy League institutions change admission standards. What do you think?
I think that they are going to figure out a way around the rules no matter what.
Right.
But I love that Justice Clarence Thomas, I believe, wrote the dissenting opinion that first time affirmative action went through the Supreme Court. And he said, I'm trying to remember the exact language, but it was something like, basically, it's already against the law to discriminate. We don't
Right.
need
It's supposed to
affirmative
be.
action. I
Right.
don't want to bastardize his words, but back then he said, the original opinion was something like, I long for the day, or that we don't need a law that prevents people from being racist, prejudiced, and discriminatory, basically. And in his dissent, he said, yeah, we already live there. It's already against the law to discriminate against people based on these things. We don't need another law that actually creates discrimination. Affirmative action tries to correct previous discrimination with current discrimination. And so,
Right, but of course they do.
So
Of
now
course they do.
So now we've said, okay, that law is unconstitutional because it creates discrimination, right? So okay,
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. We've talked about this. Justice is rear facing. And it's always trying to right a wrong in the past. Social justice warriors, all that nonsense, right? That's what one side thinks. Freedom is always forward facing, and there's going to be a little bit of injustice in it because people are, humans are flawed, and they have weaknesses and they have lapses in judgment, right? But I agree with you that affirmative action really entrenched racial disparity. It didn't remove it, but it was, if you're going to argue the other side, which I'm not, but I certainly know what the argument is, that they are trying to right a historical wrong by visiting a current wrong, if you will, discrimination in admissions. Let me read you actually Jackson's. Go ahead.
Go ahead. I want you to come back to this, but you mentioned Michelle Obama. So Michelle Obama,
only if I have to.
In her statement, actually repudiated her own statement. So she made a comment about how it was so terrible that when she was at Yale or whatever
she was at Princeton.
Princeton, sorry.
Michelle Robinson, look up her thesis. It's there.
How she got treated like she might not belong there because, she's black and got favored, whatever. And so she wasn't taken seriously as a black woman and blah, 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 and whatever. It's like, okay, but now you're saying the thing that actually creates the perception that you might not have deserved to get there in the first place is is the thing that you want to uphold. So why not just make it so that everyone who's actually there has the same level playing field, and they aren't given special privileges and special consideration? What better way to make sure that there is no perception that you didn't deserve to be there than to get rid of the thing that creates the perception that you might not deserve to be there?
Okay, you need to simplify that for me, because I mean, I hear you, but yeah, I get it. But look, one side focuses on the equality of opportunity, not the equality of outcome. The progressives want an equality of outcome. Like, we're all going to wear, gray burlap sacks, and we're going to eat potatoes, right? I mean, that's basically, that's basically what this is.
Lower
right?
everyone's quality of living. So it sucks
right.
for everyone.
Right. Rather than, and you're talking about a meritocracy and that kind of a thing. Look, it's really simple. If I have someone who's going to operate on me as a physician, I don't want the guy that finished at the bottom of the class, and I don't want the guy or girl or woman, whatever, who was there because of some, racial quota. I want the best person in the world to be operating on me, and that's a pretty easy standard for people to understand and wrap their heads around. And race-based admissions, for the longest time, while the intention was to right a historical wrong, all it did was visit more wrong now on a larger group of people.
That's
which
right.
I guess one side thinks that's okay, but I'm sure not on that side. Lord.